Hello, my name is Cat, and welcome back to the beta server, where today I'm gonna go over all the different guild perks that are available this cycle. They have been added to the game, was added earlier today I believe, so let's check them out, let's see if any of them are good, and in general, if this is something worth playing in its current state, and if not, go a little bit over what they might change for it to become something good to play. Because that's one thing that was quite clear in the announcement of this on the beta server. This is not the final stage, they will be updating it based on feedback, so let's go over them, let's have a look, and let's give some feedback. Alright, let's start with Adventurer Merchant. So this one, I believe this is one of the ones we saw in the announcement, yep. 8% chance of 2 random goods when visiting a guild member's tavern, minus 3% negotiation cost in guild expedition, but a 10% coin reduction in your regular coin collection. So this one is the first one, and to be quite frank, it's quite pointless. First of all, this might be interesting, but you don't usually have guild members as friends, or you shouldn't really have guild members as friends. So this one, you're not able to visit your guild members' taverns, so this is quite pointless. This one here as well, minus 3% negotiation cost in guild expedition. I mentioned that last time in my last video, but this one is actually also very pointless because minus 3% is very little, and in fact it's so little that when it comes to goods, they will simply be rounded up again to the whole number. So if the cost is 3, this will reduce it by a little bit, but it'll just be rounded up to 3 again, so it'll still cost 3 goods. I believe for 3, I think I calculated last time that you have to spend 17 or more, I think, for this to actually count to reduce the goods cost. So this will only reduce the metal coin supply costs, and that's, yeah, quite pointless. Minus 7% coin collection for established players, that doesn't matter. For new players it might suck a little bit, but if these were good, then that would be okay. So how could these be improved? Well, here, I think one interesting thing, or one interesting way they could actually make this a good one, is by changing the tavern, or updating the tavern, so that you can visit your guild members' taverns regardless, even if you don't have them on your friends list. That would be quite interesting, I think, because why not? They are, you can visit your friends, but your guild members, they are also very important, they are friendly to you, so I think it would make sense if you could visit their taverns as well. It will mean that you get more activity in the taverns, which I don't think will be a big balancing issue, because yeah, on all established worlds you already have a lot of tavern silver, so if you get a little bit more, it doesn't matter. But in that case, this would actually be an interesting perk. So that's one change I would make. And for this one, I quite like the idea of it reducing the negotiation cost in the guild expedition, but this is not the way to go about it. I think perhaps one way to do it would be to have perhaps a chance of one of the goods you insert in one of the slots that not being removed from your treasury. So let's say you negotiate, you place 5 goods. Let's say you have a 10% chance of each of these not being counted, or not being spent. So that way, when you pay the goods for each of the slots, you have 10% chance of it not being subtracted from your count. So the game will still work the same, but you have a chance of not having to actually spend some of the goods. That would be an interesting one, I think. I think that would make more sense, and yeah, would actually be quite cool. I don't really mind the 10% coin collection, that's quite alright. Alright, let's move on. Antiques Expert. This one, plus 5% trade coins when exchanging items in the Antiques dealer. That one was quite alright to me. Probably should bump it up a little bit. Right now, let's see. Okay, so that's for the 3 levels, so up to 15% trade coins and 10% gemstones, so that's quite nice. But yeah, probably should bump this up a little bit. Probably quite a bit actually, because 5% is nice, but it takes quite a long time to get it to level 1, this perk, to unlock it. And also, when you have unlocked it, you don't have that many days to actually use it. I would bump this up, perhaps even start at something like 15% and then go up to 25-30%. I think that would be quite nice. But yeah, don't really mind that. Next one, City Evolution. Plus 15% construction time boost, minus 5% supply collection. This one is quite pointless, because most of the time you're not actually constructing anything. So most of the time you don't have too much use for this. When it comes to event buildings, for example, they don't have a construction time, so it's only regular buildings that this would help for. But most players, except for in the very beginning, in the early ages, this won't really have that much of an impact. I don't think this should probably be removed, I think, because I don't think it's worth having as an option. Again, minus 5% supplier collection, don't really mind having some penalties connected to these, but the perk here is definitely not worth it. Alright, Glory March. Plus 10% recruitment time boost, but minus 5 percent coin collection and supply collection. This one quite nice, but it is a little bit low, I think. Or it depends a little bit. If this counts towards the Alcatraz, that would be quite nice. Then it would probably be worth it for some, because if you reduce the Alcatraz, which already has a very low timer, you can collect it more often, and you can probably have something like a 1.5 collections each day cycle, where you collect every 16 hours or so. So morning one day, evening that day, then middle of the next day, morning, evening, and so on. So that might be nice, might be interesting. I think that's nice. Let's see how far it goes up. It goes up to 25, so that would be quite powerful. That one, I quite like it. I hope that stays. Let's see. Peaceful Explorer. Minus 6% negotiation cost in Guild Expedition. Alright, so we have another one here. That's interesting. And one thing to keep in mind is you can only have 3 of these active at the same time. But if we have this and the other one, for example, now we're looking at a 9% reduction. If we have both of those, that still wouldn't count much, because goods would just be rounded up again, so still wouldn't have a big impact. I think the same as I said last time for this. I think I would change it to that. So each time you pay some goods in the Guild Expedition, you have a certain chance of not having to actually pay those goods. I think that would be quite interesting. Alright, let's move on to Pride for Defense. This is probably something to do with your city defense, I imagine. Let's see, plus 10% chance of 1 your era good per unit your defending army kills. That's interesting. That's quite interesting, because when it comes to established players, this wouldn't matter. You don't get attacked a lot, I don't get attacked a lot. But it might help your weaker players, if they get attacked a lot. It might help them, actually, to recuperate some of their losses. So, yeah, I think this is alright, actually. Definitely not for competitive or well-established players, people who collect on time, but if you have a guild that is, or have some members that are perhaps not that active, perhaps developing their cities and so on, this might be a nice boost of goods. And saying that, not that this amount really helps, but this could kind of be gamed if you get together with a friendly guild. If you have a lot of players in your neighborhood from that guild, you can kind of attack back and forth, deliberately lose your units, and that way give some goods to the enemy. But yeah, 10% chance of 1 good per unit killed. That's around 1 good per successfully won fight, so not a lot. So at these numbers, probably not going to be gamed, but that's something interesting that could be gamed if this reward was actually worth it. But it's not really worth it at the moment, I think. So I would probably bump up this a little bit. But I do think it's interesting for yeah, for growing players, new cities. But yeah, those. Then again, those players, unless they are in a big guild that can support them, they won't really have any chance of unlocking this because of the goods cost. So I don't know, not that great. 5% attack for defending army, not really gonna matter at all. The defending army is quite disadvantaged, so that's not gonna help a lot. Anyways, let's move on. Prosper City. Alright, 10% supply boost, 10% coin boost, and 10% construction time boost. Again, this will not matter, but these quite nice, but probably could be a bit higher, because 10% is not a lot. It can definitely be nice early on in a new city, and there are lots of new worlds at the moment, so these would be nice, but yeah, should probably be quite a bit higher for the number of goods and resources you have to spend to get it. Alright, Savvy Negotiator. Minus 6% negotiation cost in Guild Battlegrounds. Okay, that's interesting. So, same thing as for the Guild Expedition, but here in the Guild Battlegrounds, here it makes a little bit more sense like this, because here the goods costs actually do go up. But even then, 6% is not a lot. I think you have to go quite high up here. I think cost have to be something like 10 or something, I think. So let's see, 10. Yeah, you have to go up to 9 or 10 for this to actually matter. And sure, it might help some. But at the same time, once you get to that kind of attrition, I'm not sure how much you really should negotiate, because your goods will be depleted very quickly. So again, I like the idea. This should definitely be a thing, I think. But again, I do think it makes more sense to give a chance of the goods not counting when you pay. I think that would be better. Alright, Social Collector. 3% gemstones when exchanging items, and 3% Tavern silver. Sounds nice, but again, we come to a rounding issue. 3% is not a lot. You have to get something like 16, 17 gems for this to actually matter. If you have lower than that, it'll just be rounded down again. So 3%, it's not going to help a lot. In most cases, you'll not get enough gems for this to actually matter. So yeah, I don't know. I like the idea, but unless I'm completely misreading these, misunderstanding how they work, they simply won't matter at all. So again, this should be changed, probably increase the percentage, and here they should increase it a lot, probably something like 20, 30, 40% or something like that. Because 3% won't register, it won't matter. 3% Tavern silver collection, that's quite nice. You collect quite a lot in the Tavern, so this one, yeah, might help. But then again, you don't really need any help collecting Tavern silver. If you're active enough, have active enough friends, you will quickly be overflowing with Tavern silver. So it's interesting, it's nice, but yeah, this one not going to be that useful in its current state. Again, perhaps one way they could implement it is that for each gemstone you get, you have a certain percentage chance of getting another one. So let's say a 10% chance of getting 2 gems instead of 1. So if you collect 5 gems, you have 10% chance of getting 2 gems for each of these 5 gems. So let's say you get lucky and get it once, you get 6 gems. I think that would make more sense than something like this. Alright, that was this one, I think. Yep. Then we'll come to the final one, Tavern Sweeper. Sounds like it will impact the tavern. Let's see, 10% chance of 1 forge point when visiting guild members' tavern. Again, you don't visit your guild members' taverns because you shouldn't have them as friends. It's simply wasting a friend spot if you have them as friends. So again, they should change this, and I really think they should make it so that you can visit your guild members' friends without having them as friends. I think that makes sense, and if that's the case, this is a good, decent reward. Of course, for established players, not going to matter a lot, but 10% chance of 1 forge point. You have 80 guild members. That is 8 forge points per day. That's quite nice. for a new city. Again, not going to matter for established, but for new cities, 8 force points, that's a lot. So yeah, it's nice and interesting, but not in its current state. Yeah, again, this shouldn't be for guild members. Either make it for friends, or make it so that that you can visit your guild members' taverns without having them as friends. Because in its current state, it's not gonna matter at all. So yeah, that's all the ones available here. I do believe these will change each time. You can only have 3 active, and when I read that, or when I read the announcement, I thought it would be something like, I don't know, 5 of these would be available each cycle, but we have 10 here, which is a lot. So I wonder how many other they have. Perhaps it's a little bit randomized, so for each one of these they get one of a specific set of options or something like that each cycle. I don't know. But yeah. Interesting idea, but in its current state, all of these rewards are very mediocre or bad to mediocre, so definitely a lot of balancing changes has to be made. Now, one final thing that I probably should have done all the way in the beginning is that I should go over donating, how that works. So we kind of went over it in the announcement, but here you have some different options. You can only do one of these options a given amount of times. I already did this one time just to check it out. So here, if I spend 2 forge points, I contribute 7,000 to this plot here. And for each 2 I spend, I use up 1 turn here. I have 30 overall turns for daily donations. So I can only do 30 per day. So yeah, I can do up to 10 of this. This one I can do 15, for example. So yeah, if I want to do these, I can't do them all for the most expensive one here. I can only do 10 and then move down. So yeah, I can spend some more. So I can get 70,000 here. And then I can get, what's that, 6.5, almost 7,000 here, and a few more thousand there. So I don't know, 80,000 or something like that for each player, for each day. That's not a lot. 80, let's see, divided by 80,000, that is 156. Okay, so if each guild member did it, it will only take 2 days to unlock 1 reward, which is not too bad, but then again, each guild member is probably not going to do it that many times. It's no problem to these rewards or these actions here. It's cheap for established players, so they have no problem donating these amounts. So in that case, it's not very expensive, but when it comes to newer players, new cities, this is a lot of resources. 2 forge points, in my new world, I would never spend 2 forge points. But on my established worlds, I have tens of thousands of forge points to spend, so I don't mind. I can do that easily. But yeah, and it's the same story with, let's see, some of the, here we have goods, for example. 4 goods, that's nothing in an established world. So 4 times 15, that's what, 60? That's nothing. I can easily spend that in a day. But here on this world, I actually could spend that, but yeah, I won't because I don't have that many goods. Again, medals, no issue. I can easily spend that in an established world, but in a new world, you want to use those for expansions. So yeah, these costs, I don't really have any issues with them. It is what it is, and I do think this is an interesting way for the more established players to help out the newer players by using their resources to improve the experience for the newer players. I think that's nice. I don't mind that at all. But yeah, the rewards you get are definitely not very appealing at the moment. So hopefully, as they have said, there will be changes, and hopefully there will be a lot of changes, improvements to these rewards. Because yeah, in the end, I like the idea of this. And I do think the implementation is okay. Probably could be some changes, and as some have pointed out in the feedback thread, as you can see in here, we can all donate to all of these, but you can only have 3 actives. What happens to the points or resources spent here? So our guild has already donated to 7 of these, but you can only have 3 active, so what happens there? Those resources just wasted, I don't know. So there are definitely some problems, but I do like the idea. But yeah, the implementation is very weak at the moment. The rewards are very weak. They should definitely be improved quite a bit. So yeah, I think that's about it for this video. Went on a little bit longer than I wanted or expected, to be honest, but that's all right. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and please join the feedback thread. Give your feedback so that they have things to work with. Because as I've said many times, they have said that this is work in progress, that it will make changes. Alright, I think that's enough for me. Thank you very much for watching. Before I end, let me thank my Patreons. I would like to thank Homestar, Merrick B, PQ the Goat, Arthur, Sabathiel, Hukakan von Count, Jan Fredriksen, Jude the Generous, Rocco, Henrik der Erklärber, and Mattia. Thank you all very much for your support. Thanks for watching, take care, and I will see you in the future.